Yeah, well, it's not so much a story, it's a tweet, but I want to bring it up because last week we chatted about the upcoming Aurat, the Women's March in Pakistan,
Yes.
sorry, which is
8th of
coinciding
March?
8th
Tomorrow?
of March, the day after
Usually
tomorrow
it's,
for me in England, but yes, for you, basically tomorrow, I guess. Um,
no, is that on Monday or Tuesday?
the
I
8th
don't know.
is Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday.
Right. Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
let's talk about it. Yeah.
yeah, so base basically, we did kind of discuss like the reasons why women are marching, right? And I just wanted to kind of make it clear that the things that they are literally fighting for there is so vastly different from like the Western concept of feminism and the things that we're trying to do here by like shattering glass ceilings and trying to get more women at the sea level and be, sitting on the board of companies. Whereas last week we showed placards which were literally just saying like warm your own food up and like basic things like this, or like the way I sit is not your problem. But I came across this tweet and I wanted to share it because this is the level of how depraved elements of I'd say the majority of the society in Pakistan, which is highly conservative and illiterate. And when we were talking about women being property earlier, this is the kind of real life things that they actually face. And this is one of the massive reasons that we have to talk about the Women's March on the 8th of March. So if anybody here that's listening does speak Urdu or Hindi, we will be doing a live stream on the 8th itself. We'll put the time out tomorrow, but myself and Sultan Salatin, who's also here in the chat, we will be talking, and we will also be joined by Ghalib Kamal, who I'm sure most of you already have heard of him, and Gulzar. And we have told them to let us do the majority of the talking. And Haris, that it's going to be at a crazy time for you, but if you are willing to stay up or join whenever you do wake up, like definitely, please jump on that. Um, so let me share one of the tweets that we are going to be talking about. Okay, so this is a little story within a tweet, okay? A woman I know from a village in Bindi, Badian, shared that on birth of her second child via C-section, her husband instructed the doctor to tie her tubes. He's already had 3 kids from another marriage and did not want more from her. All of this was decided while she was unconscious. A few years down the line, she was divorced and married off to someone else. This new husband was mad at her since she couldn't conceive. So the first husband, who's related to the second husband, revealed that he had had her tubes tied without her consent. All these years, she didn't even know what had been done to her body. An ultrasound confirmed that her tubes had been tied. Her second husband is now threatening her with divorce because he wants a child and has been scammed, according to him. Ask me again why my body, my choice is vulgar or representative of only the liberal elite. And hashtag why I march, hashtag Women's March 2020. So this is the kind of level of like violence against women and discrimination and sexual violence. I mean, in any civilized Western country, the fact that a husband has the audacity to make a decision like that on behalf of his sane minded partner while she's unconscious, that would not fly in the eyes of the law. You'd be done for that. Years have passed and this woman has had no idea what's actually been done to her, like her actual own reproductive agency. And it's one man taking these decisions. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, and this is what the stream is going to be like heavily focused on as well, so I'll save my rants for Urdu, but um it's the level of entitlement. It's the mentality that backs this. It's the diminishing you to a piece of property that can be passed around. And you are literally your womb. All your worth is dependent on the woman has no agency in this situation. It's this man wants a baby, this man's got two, this man's done, this man wants one now, and you can't provide. And it just makes me think of the Caliph of Islam himself, Omar, who says a doormat is better than a woman that can't conceive. And this is like the root level of what most society in Pakistan kind of deal with on a daily basis. And I'm sure if we ask doctors, the cases are horrendous, and we will go into some of them. But yeah, if it's just a small little insight into what these women are facing and fighting against when they are taking out to the streets, and the pushback that we see that this is un-Islamic and asking for these rights is un-Islamic is because they want you to be kept being treated this way, because this is when men are having all the power and they've got all the fun. And in Pakistan, they're just trying to balance that out, and they're putting the knot that this is un-Islamic, which I agree, it is un-Islamic, which is the reason we call out both. But this is the kind of like basic equality that Pakistan lacks. So feminism in Pakistan is not even an iota close to the feminism that we're trying to fight in the West. It is like grassroots level. So yeah.
We're not trying to fight in the West. I mean, the Western feminism still has merits and is good. It's obviously these conservatives of the West. I was just about to make a point that conservatives of the West, they, for example, in my English video, I made this video that why do Pakistanis hate feminism, and then a couple of comments from some conservative white, I don't know, Americans or whatever. They were also saying, yeah, because feminism sucks. So there's misogyny in the Western countries as well, is mainly in this conservative community, the people leaning towards right or far right. But having said that, it's a lot worse in Pakistan, obviously, in these developing countries, because the more backward a country is, the more misogynistic and patriarchal they are. We just shared that channel, Urdu channel of Nuria. It's called Noor Ilm. Please look for that. You'll find it and subscribe, and that's where Nuria would be doing this stream on 8th of March. By the time you see the video, it'll be tomorrow, so we'll probably try to put it up tonight. Do watch that, and also please support this group of people are fascinating, called Aurat March. Aurat means woman, woman's march, and obviously they're marching for your rights in the month of March. And please follow them on Twitter to keep track of that. This deserves a lot more numbers. And there are a lot of brave women. You have no idea the amount that the amount of hatred that they put up with. They're called every filthy name under the sun, but to this day they actually haven't lost it yet. They haven't really started responding to them in their own language. They've pelted stones at them. These Maulvis, these clerics, have brought their own women in those black bags. Oh, we're the real woman. This is how a woman should be. And then they pelt stones at them. And even though they say, well, you have a right to wear the hijab or burqa or whatever, but we have a right not to wear it either. That's all they're trying to say. The fighting, and in more in-depth analysis in Urdu, Nuria and Sultan Salatin and various guests throughout the day would also join. I'll try to join, but obviously it's going to be a crazy hour for me. I'll hopefully, if I stay awake, then I'll join in as well.
Yeah,
Thank
it will
you,
be
Nuria,
stupid o'clock for you, but yeah. Also, I just want to say somebody was actually asking me yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, like why do they have to go out and like, also piss off the Malvis at the same time? Like, why is there no middle ground? And it's just like the fact that what we're asking for is so basic that if without even this, like the picture of a girl sitting with her legs open, which is considered more of a masculine position to sit in, the fact that something like that is so basic, yet they're so threatened by that. They consider that blasphemous and like, what are you doing? And like you said, the most horrible names under the sun that they try and chuck at you. I was trying to explain that, like, for them, that is like shock value, like just seeing a picture of a woman sitting however the hell she wants to sit,
How dare you? How dare you challenge our
Ex-
norms that we've imposed on you?
Exactly, yeah. Sit cross-legged, put your hands on your lap, look like, no. This is like so basic, but they're so threatened by it. But I was trying to explain in Pakistan, these little placards that they put in these signs are to us like literally, what are you even writing? That's isn't that just so commonplace and second nature? But no, the fact that it has such a repercussion and there's so much pushback and like, public already threats pour in before they take to the streets just shows you that the Pakistani like psyche and mentality needs that level of shock factor to be able to accept normal concepts like sitting with a leg up or a man warming up his own food. That to them is shocking, and so they need these basic things put in their face which they consider blasphemous. And like people who are trying to say, oh, fine, ask for your rights, but like don't annoy them all these, no, this is exactly what they need to do. They need to annoy them because they need to normalize it for them, and the only way to do that is to keep doing it to like it's the same thing as normalizing dissent, right? You keep at it. And that's the kind of like the mentality war that's going on in Pakistan. And then obviously we know religion is the foundation of that, but that's a story for another day.
And just a last point on that, that they're actually doing it very smartly as well. Then they haven't actually targeted Islam per se. And again, the hijabi girls have turned up for Aurat March as well. So it's a movement for women. Yes, we say that as atheists. We say that. Well, sorry, ladies, most of your problems actually come from from Islam. But either they know it or they don't want to know it. They don't want to talk about it. It's entirely up to them. But fine. But still, that angers these people. So no matter what you say, if you challenge something, then it's going to anger people. Um, um,
Exactly.
if they had used more strong language, then there would have been, yes. This if they had used less harsher words, they still would have been against them. You can never please people. That's why you set your own standard. As long as you can justify and give a proper sounding rationale behind it, go for it.
Yeah, and sorry, just touch like what you said, for example, like sometimes it is a bit heart-wrenching because like basic rights and equality, we're all there for that, but then sometimes some of those placards they're holding say like give me the rights that Allah gave me, or like Allah gave me rights and God is great, and you kind of think to yourself, oh no,
Allah
like
gave Allah
this
gave them
is
rights and also lefts.
yeah, exactly. Her right, left, uppercut, jabs, but lightly with a miswak.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously that's the different thing. But and that's why if you want to go into that, that's like a battle that is just beyond reach right now in Pakistan. But
Mm.
the thing before that is siding with them to ask for these basic rights, whether that's shrouded in them being blissfully ignorant of Islam or willfully ignorant of it, is a different matter.
Right.
There are
But
some parts of
Nuria,
the
if you
constitution.
look
Yeah.
at it, some of these slogans, I'm sure we talked about this on Harry's stream last year. I don't know if you remember this. Some of these slogans have stories behind them. There was a woman who was murdered because she didn't warm up her husband's food. So there are
Yes.
some serious horrendous stories behind these slogans, and people just for the sake of it, because they have something that they want to criticize this event, they just come up with this is absurd, this doesn't say this, you're killing your purpose, and by saying mera jism meri marzi, which is simply means that I have the, I should decide what's for me, and I should decide for my body what should happen to it.
Yeah, don't
Why
touch
is
my
it?
body, don't look at it, don't judge
Yes.
it, nothing. What it's mine. It's nothing to do with you. That's all they're saying. I want agency of my own freaking body. It's as simple as that. And you're right, like here, like we see, like sometimes my grandma's watching these dramas and like this girl is literally getting kicked out of the house or like threatened with divorce because she's burnt the dal or like the lentils, and we're like, oh my God, like what are you watching? And then like you said, we hear stories where women get killed for not warming up their husband's food, and you're like, this is actually a real phenomenon in these countries. And like the problem is this is why we're going to go in hard in Urdu, Sultan Salatin, but the problem is that this it needs a massive psyche shift, where they will see that picture of a woman sitting however she wants or saying it's my body, don't touch it, don't comment on it, don't look at it, like don't. That when these trigger points they can actually deal with, I don't think Pakistan, in Pakistan women are going to get like equal rights in the short term by any means. But even this consistency of this march that we're seeing now, year in, year out, and again, and we've seen like the build up to it for the last 2 weeks, they're already putting threats out to these women saying, don't you dare, you can speak like for your rights, but don't you dare cross the limit and do anything that's un-Islamic. And how is asking for your basic equal rights now in a pseudo proto type democracy, whatever Pakistan is, considered so threatening? Only in a world where men feel so threatened that if they lose hold and this control of women being pressed down in their family units and in society in general, that's the only way that they can maintain control.
I think in our part of the world, men are so en- entitled
Fragile.
still. I think they feel so entitled, and they don't even see women as human beings sometimes. And it's just the, as we spoke earlier, it's about having, you don't have slaves anymore, but you have wives now who would take care of
Exactly.
you, and you would be like meeting your needs and everything. And
Yeah,
it
like
is
the slogans that's like you've got a wife, not like a new servant or a housemaid,
exactly. I mean, And it's so difficult despite having a woman as a prime minister in a country where, it's where it is Islamic, and in Islam it is not allowed to have a woman as a prime minister or a leader because women are not wise enough or intelligent enough. Despite that, it's ironic that we still have this article that we just spoke about
Yeah,
in law, which deems women half as intelligent. And to have that before you, how can you expect change in common people? Because the law, the very
exactly.
constitution of the country, sets the
I,
narrative. And it's so difficult to fight this off. And I don't know how long it's going to take, because even for
Well,
the simplest
like
thing
you're
that
saying,
there
Sultan
should be a
Salatin, like it's
minimum age for
enshrined.
marriage.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And these things have taken like forever. Minimum age for marriage, and other things that like rape and the laws according to it. It has taken us so long, and still we are
And that's
far
because
behind.
the problem is, right, at the root of it, we are founded on Islam. We are the
Islam
biggest
and
migration in history for religious reasons. Our country was born out of it. So that's why, for example, going out and holding a placard saying, I want equal inheritance, like as my brother has, that is actually un-Islamic. And that's the fundamental problem. And so if you're living in this stage where you want equality and freedom, but you need Sharia enshrined in your law, you have these hudud punishments, or you want to go according to the Holy Quran and Sunnah, then equality, that's an oxymoron. That's not an achievable target in any way. If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone.